Hello, my beautiful friend. I'm so glad you're here with me today. There's something special about this moment, isn't there? You found your way to this message, and that tells me your heart is ready for something wonderful to unfold in your life. You know, so many people walk through life feeling like they're always struggling with money, always worried about having enough, always watching others seem to have what they want while feeling left behind. If this sounds familiar, please know that you're not alone, and more importantly, you're not broken or doing anything wrong. I want you to take a gentle breath with me right now. Just breathe in slowly, and as you breathe out, let yourself feel held in this moment. You see, the very fact that you're listening to these words tells me something beautiful about you. Your soul is calling for change, for abundance, for the life you truly deserve to live. And when your soul calls like this, the universe always responds. Always. For so many years, I worked with people who came to me feeling defeated about money. They would sit across from me with tears in their eyes, telling me how hard they'd tried, how nothing seemed to work, how they felt cursed when it came to financial abundance. And what I learned, time and time again, is that wealth isn't really about the numbers in your bank account. It's not about luck or being born into the right family or having some special secret that others don't know. True wealth begins in a place much closer to home. It begins within you, in the depths of your own beautiful heart and mind. You might be thinking, but Louise, I've tried positive thinking. I've worked so hard. I've done everything I can think of. And I hear you, sweetheart. I really do. But what I want to share with you today is something different. It's about recognizing that wealth is already trying to make its way to you. Yes, right now, even as you listen to these words, there are signs all around you that abundance is shifting in your direction. The key is learning to see these signs, to trust them, and to align yourself with the flow that's already beginning to move in your life. Think about a garden for a moment. Before you see the first green shoots pushing through the soil, so much is happening beneath the surface. The seeds are swelling, roots are forming. The whole invisible network of life is getting ready to burst forth into the light. Your financial abundance is much like this. There's so much happening that you can't see yet. So much preparation taking place in the invisible realm of energy and possibility. And just like in the garden, there are signs that tell you spring is coming, even when the ground still looks bare. When I was going through my own struggles years ago, I felt so disconnected from any sense of abundance. I was living paycheck to paycheck, worried constantly about money, and feeling like wealth was something that happened to other people, but never to me. I had created such a wall of fear and unworthiness around money that I couldn't see the opportunities that were right in front of me. But you know what changed everything? It wasn't winning the lottery or getting a big promotion. It was the moment I realized that I had been looking for wealth in all the wrong places. I had been looking outside myself for something that could only be found within. The truth is, abundance is your natural state. You were born worthy of all good things. You were born deserving of comfort, security, and yes, financial freedom. But somewhere along the way, we all pick up these ideas that tell us otherwise. Maybe someone told you that money doesn't grow on trees, or that you have to work yourself to the bone to deserve financial security, or that wanting money makes you selfish or shallow. These ideas become like weeds in the garden of your mind, choking out the natural abundance that wants to grow there. But here's the beautiful thing. You can change all of this. You can clear away those weeds and plant new seeds of abundance consciousness. And when you do, you'll start to notice that the signs of incoming wealth were there all along. You just couldn't see them through the tangle of old beliefs and fears. This is why I'm so excited to share this time with you today, because you're ready to see clearly, to recognize the signs, and to step into the abundant life that's waiting for you. The universe is constantly speaking to us, constantly sending us messages about what's coming our way. But we have to learn its language. We have to become sensitive to the subtle ways it communicates. And when it comes to wealth and abundance, these communications are often gentle, easy to miss if we're not paying attention. But once you know what to look for, once you understand how to read these signs, your whole relationship with money and abundance will begin to shift in the most wonderful ways. So let's begin this journey together, shall we? Let's learn to recognize the signs that wealth is making its way to you. Let's discover how to align yourself with the flow of abundance that's already moving in your life. And most importantly, let's remember that you are worthy of all the good things life has to offer. You are worthy of financial freedom, of security, of being able to give generously and live comfortably. This isn't a dream that's too big for you. It's your birthright, and it's time to claim it. Now let's talk about something fascinating, the way the universe speaks to us about abundance. You see, the universe is always communicating, always sending us signals about what's coming our way. But these messages don't usually come with flashing neon signs or dramatic announcements. They come in whispers, in gentle nudges, in the quiet knowing that something is shifting in your life. When wealth energy begins to move in your direction, there are specific signs that appear, like breadcrumbs on a path leading you toward your abundance. The first sign is often the most surprising. Things might actually seem to get a little more challenging before they get easier. I know this might sound backwards, but think about it this way. When a woman is about to give birth, the contractions get stronger just before the baby arrives. When dawn is about to break, the night is often at its darkest. This is nature's way of preparing us for breakthrough. So if you've been feeling like your financial situation is more stressful lately, if unexpected expenses have been coming up, if you're feeling more pressure around money than usual, don't despair. This could actually be a sign that old energy is clearing out to make room for something new and wonderful. The universe is often cleaning house in your experience before it brings in the new abundance. It's like clearing out an old closet to make room for beautiful new clothes. Another sign that wealth is coming your way is that you start noticing money everywhere. You might find coins on the street more often, or someone might unexpectedly pay you back money you'd forgotten about, or you might receive a small windfall from an unexpected source. These aren't just coincidences. They're the universe's way of showing you that the channel of abundance is opening up in your life. It starts small, like a tiny crack in a dam, but as you notice and appreciate these small signs, the crack gets bigger and more abundance flows through. You might also notice that opportunities start presenting themselves in unusual ways. A conversation with a stranger leads to a business idea. Someone mentions a job opening just when you weren't even looking. You discover a new way to save money on something you buy regularly. These synchronicities are the universe orchestrating circumstances in your favor. When you're aligned with abundance consciousness, you become a magnet for these kinds of meaningful coincidences. Pay attention to your dreams too. Often, the subconscious mind receives messages about incoming abundance before the conscious mind is ready to accept them. You might dream about finding money, or about being in beautiful, abundant environments, or about receiving gifts. These dreams are your inner wisdom preparing you for the abundance that's on its way. One of the most beautiful signs is when you start feeling more grateful for what you already have. This might seem simple, but it's actually profound. When wealth energy is gathering around you, it raises your vibration, and a higher vibration naturally feels more appreciation. You might find yourself noticing the abundance that's already in your life, the roof over your head, the food in your refrigerator, the people who love you. This growing sense of gratitude is like tuning your radio to the frequency of abundance. The more grateful you feel, the more abundance you'll attract. You might also notice that your relationship with money starts to feel different. Instead of thinking about money with fear or anxiety, you might find yourself feeling more curious about it, more hopeful about your financial future. You might catch yourself thinking thoughts like, "I wonder what amazing opportunities are coming my way," instead of, "I hope I can pay all my bills this month." This shift in your inner conversation is a powerful sign that your money consciousness is evolving. Another beautiful sign is when you start feeling more generous, even when you don't have much to spare. You might find yourself wanting to tip a little more, or to help someone in need, or to give a small gift to a friend. This generosity isn't foolish. It's your soul recognizing that abundance is flowing and there's more where that came from. When you feel abundant inside, you naturally want to share that abundance with others. Sometimes the signs are more practical. You might find yourself getting better deals on things you need, or discovering resources you didn't know existed, or finding ways to stretch your money further. The universe has infinite ways to bring you abundance, and many of them work through helping you make better use of what you already have. The key to recognizing these signs is to stay present and aware. When you're constantly worried about the future or regretting the past, you miss the subtle communications that are happening right now. But when you're present, when you're paying attention to the flow of life around you, you'll start to see the signs everywhere. And the more you acknowledge these signs, the more they multiply. There's also something important to understand about the difference between your external circumstances and your internal readiness for wealth. Your bank account might look the same today as it did last month, but if your consciousness is shifting, if you're becoming more aligned with abundance, then everything is actually changing. The external world always follows the internal world, but there's often a delay, like the delay between planting a seed and seeing the flower bloom. This is why it's so important not to judge your progress by your current circumstances alone. If you're doing the inner work, if you're shifting your beliefs about money and worthiness, if you're practicing gratitude and staying open to opportunities, then you're already wealthy in the most important way. The external abundance is simply catching up to match your internal state. Your body also gives you signs about incoming wealth. When you're aligned with abundance consciousness, you might notice that you feel lighter, more energetic, more optimistic. You might sleep better or feel more motivated to take care of yourself. This is because abundance is about so much more than money. It's about life force energy, vitality, and well-being. When wealth energy is gathering around you, your whole system responds positively. On the other hand, if you've been feeling heavy, tired, or depressed about money, this isn't necessarily a bad sign either. Sometimes we have to feel the full weight of our old patterns before we're ready to release them. It's like how you have to acknowledge that you're lost before you can ask for directions. If you're feeling the pain of financial struggle more acutely lately, it might be because your soul is ready to let go of this struggle once and for all. The most important thing to understand about recognizing signs of incoming wealth is that they require a different kind of seeing. You can't recognize these signs with the same consciousness that created your current financial situation. You have to be willing to see with new eyes, to trust in possibilities that your logical mind might not understand yet, to believe in abundance even when your bank account suggests otherwise. This is where the real work begins, not just in recognizing the signs, but in developing the inner foundation that allows wealth to take root and grow in your life. Because all the signs in the world won't matter if you don't have fertile soil in your consciousness for abundance to grow in. And that's what we're going to explore next. How to create that inner foundation of wealth consciousness that makes all the difference. Let's go deeper now into understanding what creates the inner foundation for wealth. You see, money is never really about money. It's about energy, about self-worth, about the beliefs we carry deep in our hearts about what we deserve and what's possible for us. When someone struggles with money repeatedly, despite their best efforts, there's always something happening beneath the surface, some belief or pattern that's keeping abundance at bay. Think of your consciousness like the soil in a garden. If the soil is full of rocks and weeds, if it's too acidic or lacks nutrients, even the best seeds won't grow well there. But if you prepare the soil properly, if you remove the rocks and weeds and add the right nutrients, then almost anything you plant will flourish. Your wealth consciousness works the same way. If it's cluttered with limiting beliefs about money, about your worthiness, about what's possible for you, then even your best efforts to create abundance will struggle to take root. Most of our money beliefs were formed when we were very young, often before we were even consciously aware of what money was. We absorbed the attitudes and fears of the adults around us like little sponges. If your parents worried about money constantly, you probably learned that money is something to worry about. If they fought about money, you might have learned that money causes conflict and pain. If they told you that money doesn't grow on trees, or that rich people are greedy, or that you have to work extremely hard to deserve financial security, these ideas became part of your subconscious programming about wealth. The beautiful thing about these beliefs is that they're not permanent. They're not facts about reality. They're just ideas that got planted in your mind when you were too young to question them. And just like weeds in a garden, once you recognize them for what they are, you can begin to gently remove them and plant something more beautiful in their place. One of the most common limiting beliefs I encounter is the feeling of not being worthy of abundance. So many people carry this deep sense that wealth is for other people, but not for them. They might not even be consciously aware of this belief, but it shows up in the way they sabotage opportunities, or settle for less than they deserve, or feel guilty when good things happen to them financially. If this resonates with you, I want you to know something important. Your worthiness was never up for debate. You were worthy of abundance the moment you were born, not because of anything you did or didn't do, but simply because you exist. You are a unique expression of life itself, and life wants to support you, to provide for you, to flow through you in beautiful and abundant ways. Any belief that tells you otherwise is simply not true, no matter how real it might feel. Another common pattern is the belief that money is somehow spiritual or unspiritual, that wanting financial abundance makes you materialistic or selfish. This belief causes so much internal conflict because part of you wants security and comfort, while another part of you judges these desires as somehow wrong or shallow. But think about it this way. Money is simply a tool, like water or electricity. It's not inherently good or bad. It's what you do with it that matters. And when you have financial abundance, you're actually in a much better position to help others, to contribute to causes you care about, to live in alignment with your values. Some people carry the belief that they have to struggle for money, that if it comes too easily, it's not legitimate somehow. This belief creates a pattern of making everything harder than it needs to be, of rejecting opportunities that feel too good to be true, of sabotaging success when it starts to flow naturally. But abundance is actually supposed to feel easy and natural. When you're in alignment with wealth consciousness, opportunities and resources flow to you with grace and ease, not through struggle and force. The fear of having money is another pattern that might surprise you. Some people are actually afraid of being wealthy because they worry it will change them, or that people will treat them differently, or that they'll become someone they don't want to be. This fear keeps them in financial limitation as a way of protecting their identity and relationships. But true wealth consciousness includes the wisdom to handle abundance responsibly and to stay true to your values regardless of your financial situation. There's also the pattern of believing that there's not enough to go around, that for you to have abundance, someone else must do without. This scarcity thinking creates a lot of guilt around wanting wealth and limits your ability to receive. But abundance isn't like a pie where if I take a big slice, there's less for you. Abundance is more like a flowing river. The more that flows through me, the more there is for everyone. When you prosper, you actually create more opportunities and resources for others as well. Sometimes people believe that money will solve all their problems, and then when they get some money and still have challenges in other areas of life, they become disillusioned and push abundance away. Money is wonderful and can solve many practical problems, but it's not a cure-all for every human challenge. Understanding this helps you have a healthier, more realistic relationship with wealth. The belief that you don't know how to manage money is another common block. People think they need to figure out all the financial strategies and investment plans before they can attract abundance. But money management skills can be learned, and often the abundance comes first. Then you learn what you need to know to handle it wisely. Don't let the fear of not knowing enough keep you from opening to receive. Your relationship with receiving is also crucial to your wealth foundation. Many people are much better at giving than receiving. They feel uncomfortable when someone tries to give them something. They deflect compliments. They insist on paying for everything. This pattern blocks the flow of abundance in your life. Receiving is just as important as giving in the natural flow of abundance. When you receive gracefully, you're actually giving the giver the gift of being able to give. The stories we tell ourselves about our family history with money also create our foundation. If you come from a family that struggled financially, you might carry the belief that struggle is just your family's fate. But you have the power to be the one who changes the pattern, who breaks the cycle of financial limitation, and creates a new legacy of abundance for yourself and future generations. Your body holds these beliefs too. Financial stress and limiting beliefs about money often show up as tension in your shoulders, tightness in your chest, or problems with your lower back. As you work on transforming your wealth consciousness, pay attention to how your body feels. Notice where you hold tension around money issues and breathe love and relaxation into those areas. The beautiful truth is that underneath all these limiting beliefs and patterns, your natural wealth consciousness is already perfect and whole. It's like a spring of clear water that's been covered over with debris. You don't have to create your abundance consciousness from scratch. You just have to clear away what's blocking it so it can flow naturally again. This clearing happens through awareness, through gentle compassion for yourself, through willingness to see your patterns without judgment, and through patient, consistent work to replace old beliefs with new ones that support your abundance. It's not about forcing yourself to think positively when you don't feel it. It's about gradually, gently shifting the foundation of your consciousness so that positive, abundant thinking becomes your natural state. When your inner foundation is strong and clear, when you truly know in your bones that you're worthy of abundance, when you've released the old fears and limitations that kept wealth at a distance, then money can flow to you in ways that feel natural and sustainable. You won't have to chase after it or struggle for it. It will come to you because you've become a match for it in your consciousness. And that's when the real magic begins. Now, let's explore how to make this transformation from scarcity to abundance consciousness. This shift is perhaps the most important work you'll ever do because it affects every area of your life, not just your finances. When you truly understand the difference between scarcity and abundance thinking, and when you begin to live from abundance consciousness, everything changes. Your relationships, your health, your creativity, your sense of purpose, and yes, your financial situation. Scarcity consciousness is like living in a small, dark room with the curtains drawn, believing that this tiny space is all there is. From this perspective, everything feels limited, threatening, and competitive. There's not enough time, not enough money, not enough opportunities, not enough love. When you operate from scarcity consciousness, you make decisions based on fear, fear of not having enough, fear of losing what you have, fear that good things won't last. This kind of thinking actually creates a physical response in your body. When you're constantly worried about not having enough, your body stays in a state of stress. Your shoulders tense up, your breathing becomes shallow, your stomach might feel tight or upset. Your body is responding as if you're in danger, even when you're perfectly safe. This chronic stress affects your immune system, your sleep, your digestion, and your overall well-being. It also affects your ability to think clearly and make good decisions. But here's something beautiful. Your body also responds to abundance consciousness. When you truly feel abundant, when you trust that life is supporting you, your whole system relaxes. Your breathing deepens, your muscles soften, your heart opens. You feel more creative, more optimistic, more generous. You make better decisions because you're not making them from a place of fear and desperation. The shift from scarcity to abundance consciousness doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't require you to pretend everything is perfect when it's not. It's more like slowly opening those curtains and letting more light into the room. You start to see that the room is actually much bigger than you thought, and that there are doors leading to even more spacious places. This shift often begins with gratitude, but not the kind of gratitude where you're trying to convince yourself that you should be thankful for things that genuinely don't feel good. That's just another form of resistance. True gratitude is more like recognition, recognizing the abundance that's already present in your life, even in small ways. When you wake up in the morning, instead of immediately thinking about all the things you have to worry about, you might notice the soft pillow under your head, the warm blanket covering you, the fact that you slept safely through the night. You might appreciate the hot water that flows from your faucet, the coffee or tea that warms you, the fact that you have food to eat. These might seem like small things, but they're actually miracles when you really think about it. As you practice this kind of recognition, you begin to see that abundance isn't just about having millions of dollars or living in a mansion. Abundance is about recognizing the incredible richness that's already flowing through your life. And the more you recognize it, the more there is to recognize. It's like developing a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. One of the most powerful ways to shift into abundance consciousness is to start thinking about money as energy rather than as something scarce and limited. Money is constantly flowing around the world. Billions of dollars change hands every day. When you think about it this way, the question isn't whether there's enough money in the world. Clearly, there is. The question is whether you're positioned to receive your share of that flow. Think of money like water in a river. The river is constantly flowing, but if you're standing on the bank with a tiny cup, you'll only catch a tiny amount. If you're standing there with a bucket, you'll catch much more. The size of your container, your consciousness, your sense of worthiness, your openness to receive, determines how much you can catch from the abundant flow that's already there. This is why working on your consciousness is so much more powerful than just working harder or trying to force opportunities to come to you. When you expand your consciousness, when you heal your relationship with money and worthiness, you're essentially showing up to the river of abundance with a bigger container. Another way to shift into abundance consciousness is to start looking for evidence of abundance everywhere. Instead of focusing on what's missing or what's going wrong, you actively look for what's working, what's flowing, what's growing. You might notice how nature is constantly creating and regenerating, new leaves on trees, flowers blooming, birds building nests. You might observe how creative and resourceful people are, how much beauty exists in the world, how many acts of kindness happen every day. This isn't about putting on rose-colored glasses or pretending that challenges don't exist. It's about training your mind to notice the abundance that's always present alongside whatever challenges you're facing. When you do this consistently, your brain literally rewires itself to see more possibilities and opportunities. The language you use with yourself and others also plays a huge role in this shift. Scarcity language sounds like, "I can't afford it," "Money is tight," "I'm so broke," "I never have enough," "Rich people are lucky." Abundance language sounds more like, "I'm choosing to spend my money differently right now," "I'm managing my resources carefully," "I'm grateful for what I have while I'm creating more," "I'm learning to align with greater abundance," "I celebrate others' success as proof of what's possible." This isn't about lying to yourself or using empty positive thinking. It's about speaking in a way that keeps you connected to possibility rather than limitation. The words you use actually shape your reality because they influence your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. One of the most transformative practices for developing abundance consciousness is to start acting as if you're already abundant, even in small ways. This doesn't mean spending money you don't have or making foolish financial decisions. It means making choices from a place of abundance rather than scarcity whenever possible. For example, if you're at the grocery store, instead of buying the cheapest version of everything because you're afraid there won't be enough money, you might choose to buy organic apples because you value your health and you trust that taking care of yourself is a good investment. Or you might choose to tip generously at a restaurant because you want to share your abundance, even if that abundance is simply the joy of being able to eat out. These small acts of abundance consciousness send a powerful message to your subconscious mind. They say, "I am abundant, I am worthy, I trust that there's more where this came from." And your subconscious mind responds by creating more experiences that match this belief. The shift from scarcity to abundance consciousness also involves changing your relationship with other people's success. In scarcity consciousness, someone else's wealth or success feels threatening because it seems to mean there's less for you. But in abundance consciousness, other people's success becomes inspiring and encouraging because it shows you what's possible. When you hear about someone getting a great job or making a lot of money or achieving financial freedom, instead of feeling envious or resentful, you can feel genuinely happy for them. You can say to yourself and to them, "That's wonderful. If it's possible for them, it's possible for me too." This shift in perspective actually opens up more possibilities in your own life because you're no longer blocking abundance with jealousy and resentment. Sometimes the shift from scarcity to abundance consciousness brings up uncomfortable feelings. You might notice how much fear you've been carrying, or how much energy you've been spending worrying about things that haven't even happened. This is normal and actually a good sign. It means you're becoming more aware of patterns that have been running unconsciously. Be gentle with yourself during this process. Don't judge yourself for having had scarcity thoughts or for feeling afraid. These patterns developed for good reasons. They were your mind's way of trying to protect you. Thank them for trying to keep you safe, and then gently let them know that you're ready to try a different approach now. The beautiful thing about abundance consciousness is that it's self-reinforcing. The more you practice it, the more evidence you find to support it. The more evidence you find, the easier it becomes to maintain. And as it becomes your natural way of being, it starts to attract more actual abundance into your life. You begin to notice opportunities you would have missed before. You make decisions that lead to better outcomes. You attract people and situations that support your growth and prosperity. This is the foundation that allows all the practical techniques for creating wealth to actually work. Without this shift in consciousness, you might learn all the strategies and methods for making money, but you'll keep sabotaging yourself or feeling like you're pushing against a wall. With this foundation of abundance consciousness, everything else becomes so much easier and more natural. As you continue to practice this shift, you'll find that it affects every area of your life. Your relationships become more harmonious because you're not operating from fear and neediness. Your health improves because you're not living in chronic stress. Your creativity flourishes because you're not constantly worried about survival. And yes, your financial situation begins to reflect the abundance you're feeling inside. The key is to be patient with yourself and to celebrate small shifts. You don't have to go from complete scarcity consciousness to perfect abundance consciousness overnight. Every moment of gratitude, every generous gesture, every time you choose to see possibility instead of limitation, you're building your abundance consciousness muscle, and that muscle will serve you for the rest of your life. Now that we've explored the shift from scarcity to abundance consciousness, let's dive into one of the most powerful tools for creating lasting change in your wealth consciousness: affirmations. But not just any affirmations. I want to share with you how to work with affirmations in a way that actually transforms your beliefs at the deepest level, rather than just creating surface changes that don't last. Many people have tried affirmations and felt frustrated because they didn't seem to work. They would repeat positive statements about money and abundance, but nothing changed in their external circumstances. What they didn't understand is that affirmations aren't magic spells that instantly change your reality. They're tools for reprogramming your subconscious mind, and like any tool, they need to be used skillfully and consistently to be effective. The first thing to understand about affirmations is that they work best when they feel believable to you. If you're struggling to pay your bills and you try to affirm, "I am a millionaire," your subconscious mind will reject this statement because it's too far from your current reality. Instead, you might start with something like, "I am open to receiving more abundance in my life," or "I am worthy of financial security." These statements feel more authentic and are easier for your mind to accept. Your affirmation should also be stated in the present tense, as if what you want is already true. Instead of saying, "I will be wealthy someday," you say, "I am wealthy," or "I am becoming wealthier every day." This is because your subconscious mind doesn't understand time the way your conscious mind does. When you affirm something in the future tense, your subconscious keeps it in the future. When you affirm it in the present tense, your subconscious begins to align your thoughts, feelings, and actions with that reality. One of the most important aspects of working with affirmations is dealing with the resistance that often comes up. When you first start affirming positive statements about money, you might notice a voice in your head that says things like, "That's not true," or "You're just kidding yourself," or "You don't deserve that." This resistance is actually a good sign. it means you're touching on beliefs that need to be healed. Instead of fighting against this resistance or trying to force yourself to believe the affirmations, acknowledge the resistant voice with compassion. You might say something like, "I hear you, and I understand that you're trying to protect me. Thank you for caring about me. I'm ready to try a new approach now." This gentle acknowledgement helps to soften the resistance and makes room for new beliefs to take root. The most powerful affirmations for wealth consciousness are those that address your sense of worthiness. Because ultimately, all money issues are worthiness issues. If you don't feel worthy of abundance at the deepest level, you'll find ways to sabotage or limit your financial success. So we start with affirmations that heal your relationship with your own worthiness. I am worthy of abundance simply because I exist. This is a foundational affirmation that addresses the core issue. You don't have to earn your worthiness through hard work or good behavior. You don't have to prove yourself to anyone. Your worthiness is inherent, given to you by the very fact that you are alive. When you truly integrate this belief, everything else becomes easier. I deserve to be financially secure and comfortable. This affirmation addresses the specific area of financial worthiness. Many people feel guilty about wanting financial security, as if it's selfish or unspiritual. But security is a basic human need, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to feel safe and comfortable in your life. Money flows to me easily and naturally. This affirmation helps to shift your relationship with money from struggle to ease. It suggests that abundance is your natural state, not something you have to fight for or earn through suffering. I am grateful for the abundance that's already in my life. This affirmation helps you to focus on what you have rather than what you lack, which is one of the fastest ways to increase your abundance consciousness. I trust that the universe is supporting my financial well-being. This affirmation addresses the fear and control issues that often block abundance. When you truly trust that life is on your side, you can relax and allow abundance to flow more easily. But here's the key. Simply repeating these affirmations isn't enough. You need to feel them, to embody them, to let them sink into your heart and your cells. This is where the real magic happens. One of the most powerful ways to work with affirmations is through mirror work. This is a practice I've shared with thousands of people over the years, and it's incredibly effective for healing the deepest levels of self-worth and money beliefs. Here's how it works. You stand in front of a mirror, look into your own eyes, and speak your affirmations directly to yourself. This might feel awkward or uncomfortable at first, and that's completely normal. The discomfort is usually a sign that you're not used to speaking to yourself with love and respect, but as you practice, it becomes easier and more natural. When you're doing mirror work with money affirmations, you might say something like, "I love you, and I want you to have all the abundance you desire. You are worthy of financial freedom. You deserve to feel secure and comfortable." Speak to yourself the way you would speak to a beloved friend who was struggling with money fears. The mirror work is so powerful because it helps you to build a loving relationship with yourself, which is the foundation of all abundance. When you truly love and accept yourself, you naturally want good things for yourself, including financial well-being. And when you want good things for yourself from a place of love rather than desperation, you're much more likely to attract them. Another way to deepen your affirmation practice is to write them down by hand. There's something about the physical act of writing that helps to embed new beliefs more deeply in your subconscious mind. You might write each affirmation multiple times, or you might write them in a journal along with your thoughts and feelings about them. As you write, pay attention to any resistance or negative thoughts that come up. Don't judge them or try to push them away. Instead, acknowledge them and then gently return to your affirmations. You might write something like, "Part of me doesn't believe I deserve abundance, but I'm willing to learn to believe it. I'm open to healing this belief." Some people find it helpful to create their own personalized affirmations based on their specific money blocks and goals. If you grew up hearing that money doesn't grow on trees, you might create an affirmation like, "Money comes to me from multiple sources in expected and unexpected ways." If you have a pattern of sabotaging financial success, you might affirm, "I allow myself to receive and keep the abundance that comes to me." The timing of when you practice your affirmations can also make a difference. Many people find that affirmations are most effective first thing in the morning and last thing at night, when the conscious mind is quieter and the subconscious is more receptive. But you can also use affirmations throughout the day whenever you notice money fears or scarcity thoughts arising. You can also combine affirmations with other practices to make them even more powerful. Try saying your affirmations while you're taking a walk in nature or while you're taking a relaxing bath. The more pleasant and peaceful you feel while doing your affirmations, the more easily your subconscious mind will accept them. Visualization can also enhance your affirmation practice. As you speak or think your affirmations, try to feel what it would be like if they were already true. If you're affirming that you're financially secure, spend a few moments feeling the peace and relief that would come with true financial security. If you're affirming that money flows easily to you, try to feel the joy and gratitude you would experience as abundance flows into your life. It's also important to be consistent with your affirmation practice. Just like physical exercise, affirmations work best when you do them regularly over time. You don't need to spend hours every day. Even 5 or 10 minutes of focused affirmation work can make a significant difference if you do it consistently. Be patient with the process. Your current money beliefs were formed over many years, and it takes time to replace them with new, more supportive beliefs. Some people see changes within a few weeks, while others need several months of consistent practice. The key is to keep going even when you don't see immediate results. Trust that the work you're doing is creating changes at the subconscious level that will eventually manifest in your outer experience. As your wealth consciousness begins to shift through your affirmation practice, you'll start to notice changes in how you think, feel, and act around money. You might find yourself more willing to take positive risks, more open to receiving gifts and opportunities, more comfortable talking about money, more generous with others. These changes in your inner experience are signs that your affirmations are working, even before you see major changes in your bank account. The most important thing to keep in mind is that affirmations are just one tool in your abundance toolkit. They work best when combined with other practices like gratitude, visualization, taking inspired action, and healing your relationship with worthiness. But when used skillfully and consistently, affirmations can be incredibly powerful for reprogramming your subconscious mind and aligning your consciousness with abundance. Your words have power, power to heal, power to transform, power to create new realities. By choosing affirmations that support your highest good and speaking them with love and conviction, you're literally rewiring your brain for abundance. And as your brain changes, your life changes. This is the beauty of working with affirmations. They give you the power to consciously participate in creating the life you truly want to live. Now, as your consciousness begins to shift and align with abundance, you'll find that life starts presenting you with opportunities and inspirations in ways you might not have noticed before. This is where the beautiful dance between inner work and outer action begins. You see, abundance consciousness isn't just about thinking positive thoughts or feeling good about money. It's about becoming so aligned with your true nature that you naturally take actions that support your financial well-being. When you're operating from abundance consciousness, you begin to receive what I like to call inspired action. This is very different from the frantic, desperate actions that come from scarcity thinking. Inspired action feels light, natural, and energizing. It's the kind of action that flows from intuition and inner knowing rather than from fear and struggle. You might suddenly feel drawn to call someone you haven't spoken to in months, only to discover they have a job opportunity that's perfect for you. You might feel inspired to take a different route to work and notice a help wanted sign in exactly the kind of business you've always dreamed of working for. You might get an idea for a product or service that feels exciting and doable, or you might feel compelled to learn a new skill that opens up unexpected income streams. The key to recognizing inspired action is that it feels good in your body. When you think about taking the action, you feel a sense of expansion, excitement, or peaceful knowing. There's no heaviness or dread associated with it. Even if there's some nervousness because it's something new, underneath the nervousness is a feeling of rightness, of alignment. This is very different from actions that come from fear or pressure. Fear-based actions often feel heavy, urgent, or desperate. You might feel like you should do something or that you have to do it, or else something bad will happen. While these actions might sometimes be necessary, they're not the actions that typically lead to sustainable abundance. Learning to distinguish between inspired action and fear-based action is crucial for your financial well-being. When you take inspired action, you're working with the flow of life rather than against it. Things tend to unfold more easily, doors open more readily, and you find the resources and support you need along the way. One of the most important aspects of taking inspired action is learning to trust your intuition about money and opportunities. Your intuition is constantly giving you guidance about what actions to take, what opportunities to pursue, and what situations to avoid. But if you've been operating from fear for a long time, you might not trust these inner promptings. Your intuition about money might come as a gut feeling about a business opportunity, a sudden knowing about when to negotiate for a raise, or a sense of which financial decision feels right for you. Sometimes it comes as a feeling of expansion when you think about one option and a feeling of contraction when you think about another. The more you practice listening to and following your intuitive guidance in small ways, the more you'll trust it in bigger financial decisions. Start by paying attention to your inner guidance about everyday money choices, which grocery store to shop at, when to fill up your gas tank, whether to make a particular purchase. Notice when following your intuition leads to good outcomes, like finding a great deal or avoiding an unnecessary expense. Sometimes inspired action involves taking what others might see as risks, but what feel like natural next steps to you. You might feel called to leave a job that's making you miserable to start your own business, even though it feels scary. You might feel inspired to invest in education or training that will open up new career possibilities, even though it requires a financial investment. You might feel drawn to move to a new city where you sense more opportunities await. The key is to distinguish between inspired risks and foolish risks. Inspired risks usually feel scary but exciting. They stretch you out of your comfort zone, but in a direction that feels aligned with your values and dreams. Foolish risks often feel desperate or reactive. They're usually motivated by wanting to escape something rather than move towards something positive. When you're considering a significant financial decision, take time to sit quietly and feel into the options. Don't just think about them logically, feel them in your body. Notice which option creates a sense of opening and expansion, and which creates tightness or contraction. Your body's wisdom is incredibly accurate when it comes to financial decisions. It's also important to recognize that inspired action doesn't always look like traditional financial advice. You might feel inspired to be more generous, to take time off for rest and renewal, or to invest in your health and well-being. These actions might not seem directly related to making money, but they're often exactly what you need to do to align with greater abundance. Sometimes inspired action is about saying no to opportunities that don't feel right, even when they look good on paper. You might turn down a job offer that pays well but doesn't align with your values, or you might choose not to invest in something that everyone else thinks is a sure thing but doesn't feel right to you. Trusting your inner guidance enough to say no to what's not right creates space for what is right to come into your life. The beautiful thing about inspired action is that it's usually supported by synchronicities, meaningful coincidences that help things fall into place. When you're taking action that's aligned with your highest good, you'll often find that the right people appear at the right time. Resources become available just when you need them, and obstacles either disappear or transform into opportunities. Pay attention to these synchronicities and acknowledge them with gratitude. They're signs that you're on the right track and that the universe is supporting your efforts. The more you notice and appreciate these meaningful coincidences, the more they tend to occur. Another aspect of taking inspired action is being willing to start small and build momentum gradually. You don't have to wait until you have the perfect plan or all the resources you think you need. Often, taking one small step in the direction of your dreams creates momentum that leads to the next step and then the next. If you dream of starting your own business, you might begin by offering your services to one client in your spare time. If you want to write a book, you might start by writing for 10 minutes each morning. If you want to increase your income, You might begin by having a conversation with your boss about your contributions and career goals. These small actions might not seem like much, but they're incredibly powerful because they demonstrate to yourself and to the universe that you're serious about your dreams. They create movement in the direction of what you want, and movement attracts more movement. It's also important to take inspired action from a place of joy and curiosity rather than attachment to specific outcomes. When you're attached to particular results, you create resistance and block the natural flow of abundance. When you take action from joy and curiosity, you remain open to possibilities you might not have considered. As you begin to trust your inner guidance and take more inspired action, you'll notice that your relationship with uncertainty changes. Instead of fearing the unknown, you'll begin to see it as a space of infinite possibility. You'll become more comfortable with not knowing exactly how things will work out, because you'll have experienced the magic that happens when you trust the process and take aligned action. This shift in your relationship with uncertainty is crucial for financial abundance because many of the best opportunities require you to step into the unknown. The people who create the most wealth and fulfillment in their lives are usually those who are willing to act on their inner guidance even when they can't see the whole path laid out in front of them. But here's something equally important to understand alongside taking inspired action: the power of releasing control and trusting the process. There's a beautiful paradox in creating abundance. You must be willing to take action when inspired, but you must also be willing to let go of controlling exactly how and when your abundance will come. This letting go isn't about becoming passive or giving up on your dreams. It's about releasing the tight grip of anxiety and fear that actually blocks abundance from flowing to you. When you're holding on to your desires too tightly, when you're constantly worried about how things will work out, when you're trying to force outcomes to happen on your timeline, you create resistance in the very flow you're trying to create. Think of it like trying to catch a butterfly. If you chase after it desperately with a net swinging wildly, you'll probably scare it away. But if you sit quietly in a beautiful garden and remain still and patient, the butterfly may land gently on your shoulder. Abundance works much the same way. The more desperately you chase after it, the more elusive it becomes. But when you create the right conditions and trust the process, it can arrive in ways more beautiful than you ever imagined. One of the biggest challenges in releasing control is dealing with divine timing. Your soul knows the perfect timing for your abundance to manifest, but your ego wants everything to happen right now. You might have been doing inner work for months, taking inspired action, practicing gratitude and affirmations, and yet your bank account still looks the same. This can create frustration and doubt, making you want to give up or try to force things to happen faster. But just as a seed planted in the ground doesn't become a flower overnight, your abundance consciousness needs time to fully manifest in your physical reality. There are often things happening behind the scenes that you can't see: connections being made, opportunities being prepared, people being moved into position to help you. The universe works in its own timing, which is always perfect even when it doesn't match your personal timeline. During these waiting periods, your job is to maintain your abundance consciousness and continue taking inspired action without attachment to when results will appear. This is where faith becomes so important. Faith isn't about believing that everything will work out exactly as you've planned. It's about trusting that whatever unfolds will be for your highest good, even if it looks different from what you expected. Sometimes the delay in manifestation is actually protection. You might not be fully ready for the level of abundance you're calling in. You might need to develop more skills, heal more deeply, or strengthen your foundation before you can handle greater financial responsibility. The universe knows when you're truly ready, and it will deliver your abundance at the perfect moment. Other times, the delay allows for something even better than what you originally wanted to come into your life. You might be holding on to a specific vision of how your abundance should look, but the universe has an even more wonderful plan for you. By releasing control and staying open to possibilities, you allow room for miracles to occur. Letting go of control also means releasing attachment to specific sources of abundance. You might think your money has to come from your job, or from a particular business venture, or from a specific person, but the universe has infinite ways to bring you abundance. The more open you are to receiving from unexpected sources, the more channels become available for wealth to flow to you. This doesn't mean you shouldn't make plans or set goals. Planning and goal setting can be forms of inspired action when they come from excitement and vision rather than fear and control. But hold your plans lightly, like suggestions to the universe rather than demands. Be willing to adjust course when your inner guidance suggests a different direction. One of the most beautiful aspects of releasing control is that it allows you to enjoy the journey rather than just focusing on the destination. When you're constantly worried about when your abundance will arrive, you miss the joy and growth that's available right now. But when you trust the process, you can appreciate the small signs of progress, the lessons you're learning, and the person you're becoming along the way. Practice surrendering your financial worries to a higher power, whatever that means to you. You might surrender them to God, to the universe, to your higher self, or to the wisdom of life itself. This doesn't mean becoming irresponsible about money. It means acknowledging that you're not in this alone, that there's a greater intelligence working on your behalf. You can say something like, "I've done my inner work, I've taken the actions that feel right to me, and now I release my need to control how and when my abundance comes. I trust that what's meant for me will come to me at the perfect time in the perfect way." This kind of surrender often creates an immediate sense of relief and opens up space for new possibilities to emerge. During challenging times, when bills are mounting or unexpected expenses arise, it's especially important to practice this trust. These situations are often tests of your abundance consciousness. Will you panic and fall back into scarcity thinking, or will you maintain your trust that you're supported and that solutions will appear? This doesn't mean being naive about practical realities. Take whatever practical steps feel right to you, but do so from a place of calm confidence rather than panicked desperation. Handle your challenges with the same grace and wisdom you would if you had millions in the bank. This approach not only feels better, but it also tends to lead to better outcomes. As you practice releasing control and trusting the process, you'll begin to see evidence that you really are supported by life. Solutions will appear just when you need them. Opportunities will arise at the perfect moment. People will show up to help you in unexpected ways. These experiences will strengthen your faith and make it easier to trust in the future. Now let's talk about how to maintain this abundance consciousness and faith on a daily basis through practical rituals and practices. Creating a consistent daily practice is like tending a garden. It keeps your abundance consciousness strong and healthy so it can continue to attract wealth and opportunities into your life. Your morning routine sets the tone for your entire day, so this is a beautiful time to align yourself with abundance consciousness. Before you check your phone or dive into your to-do list, take a few moments to connect with gratitude. You might lie in bed for a few extra minutes, appreciating the comfort of your bed, the fact that you slept safely through the night, and the new day stretching ahead of you with its infinite possibilities. As you get ready for your day, you can practice what I call prosperity consciousness preparation. As you shower, visualize washing away any money worries or scarcity thoughts from yesterday. As you brush your teeth, affirm your worthiness of abundance. As you get dressed, choose clothes that make you feel confident and prosperous, even if they're simple. The key is to approach these daily activities with intention and consciousness. Many people find it helpful to start each day by writing 3 things they're grateful for in a journal. But I encourage you to go deeper than surface gratitude. Instead of just writing, "I'm grateful for my job," you might write, "I'm grateful for the opportunity to use my talents in service of others and to receive compensation for my contributions." This kind of specific, heartfelt gratitude raises your vibration and aligns you with abundance. You can also begin each day by setting an intention for abundance. This might be something like, "Today I am open to receiving abundance in expected and unexpected ways," or "Today I see opportunities everywhere I look," or "Today I act from my highest wisdom in all financial matters." This intention doesn't guarantee that money will show up immediately, but it does align your consciousness with attracting and recognizing opportunities. Throughout your day, practice what I call abundance spotting. This means actively looking for evidence of abundance and prosperity around you. Notice beautiful homes, successful businesses, people who seem happy and prosperous. Instead of feeling envious, let these observations remind you of what's possible. Say to yourself, "If abundance is possible for them, it's possible for me too." When you handle money during the day, whether you're paying for coffee, depositing a check, or paying bills, do so with appreciation and respect. Thank the money for its service as it moves through your life. Appreciate the goods and services you're able to receive. Even when paying bills, you can frame it as an expression of gratitude for electricity, water, shelter, or whatever service you're paying for. If you find yourself slipping into scarcity thinking during the day, have a gentle way to redirect your thoughts. You might take 3 deep breaths and say an affirmation, or you might ask yourself, "What would someone with abundant consciousness think about this situation?" Or you might simply notice the scarcity thought without judgment and choose to focus on something you're grateful for instead. Create small rituals around money that reinforce your abundance consciousness. When you receive money, whether it's your salary a refund, or even finding a penny on the street, take a moment to appreciate it. You might say, "Thank you for this abundance," or "I gratefully receive this money and welcome more." These small acknowledgments train your mind to notice and appreciate the flow of money in your life. Your evening routine is equally important for maintaining abundance consciousness. Before you go to sleep, review your day with appreciation. Notice any signs of abundance that appeared, any opportunities that presented themselves, any moments when you acted from abundance rather than scarcity. Celebrate these victories, even if they seem small. If you had challenges with money during the day, approach them with compassion rather than self-criticism. You might say to yourself, "I did the best I could with the consciousness I had today. Tomorrow I'll do even better." This kind of gentle self-forgiveness prevents you from spiraling into shame and scarcity thinking. Many people find it helpful to end each day by writing in an abundance journal. You might write about what you're grateful for, what abundance you noticed, what opportunities you're excited about, or what you're calling into your life. The act of writing these positive thoughts helps to embed them more deeply in your subconscious mind. You can also practice abundance visualizations before sleep. As you're lying in bed, spend a few minutes imagining yourself living in financial abundance. See yourself paying bills easily, making generous gifts, living comfortably, pursuing your dreams without financial stress. Feel the emotions you would feel if this were already your reality. This practice programs your subconscious mind while you sleep. Throughout the week, create slightly larger abundance practices. You might designate Sunday as your abundance planning day when you review your financial goals, visualize your dreams, and set intentions for the coming week. You might create a vision board with images that represent your financial dreams, or you might spend time each week reading inspiring stories of people who have created wealth and abundance. Consider creating what I call an abundance altar in your home, a small space where you keep objects that remind you of prosperity and abundance. This might include flowers, crystals, coins from different countries, pictures of your dreams, or anything else that makes you feel abundant. Spend a few minutes each day at this altar, connecting with your abundance consciousness. It's also important to create practices that help you maintain abundance consciousness during challenging times. Have a plan for what you'll do when bills arrive, when unexpected expenses come up, or when you're feeling particularly worried about money. This might include specific affirmations to repeat, people to call for support, or calming activities that help you return to center. One powerful practice is to create what I call a prosperity emergency kit, a collection of tools you can use when scarcity thinking threatens to take over. This might include a list of abundance affirmations, photos that inspire you, a recording of soothing music, or anything else that helps you quickly shift back to abundance consciousness. The key to all these daily practices is consistency rather than perfection. You don't have to do everything perfectly every day, but having some kind of daily connection to abundance consciousness, whether it's through gratitude, affirmations, visualization, or simply paying attention to abundance around you, will help you maintain the inner state that attracts outer abundance. As you continue these practices day after day, week after week, they become second nature. Abundance consciousness becomes your default way of being rather than something you have to work to maintain. And from this natural state of abundance, wealth and opportunities flow to you more easily than you ever thought possible. Of course, even with consistent practice, there will be times when maintaining faith feels challenging. Life has a way of testing our abundance consciousness through setbacks, unexpected expenses, rejections, and delays. These challenges aren't signs that you're doing something wrong or that abundance isn't meant for you. They're opportunities to deepen your faith and strengthen your abundance consciousness muscle. When financial challenges arise, your first instinct might be to panic, to fall back into old patterns of worry and scarcity thinking. This is completely natural and human. But with practice, you can learn to handle these situations with grace and wisdom, maintaining your abundance consciousness even when things feel difficult. The first thing to understand about challenges is that they're often redirections rather than rejections. What looks like a setback might actually be steering you towards something better. The job you didn't get might have kept you from the perfect job that's coming next month. The business deal that fell through might have saved you from a partnership that wouldn't have served you. The unexpected expense might have prevented you from making a purchase that would have caused problems later. This perspective doesn't mean you should be grateful for genuine hardship or pretend that difficulties don't hurt. It means staying open to the possibility that even challenging situations can ultimately serve your highest good. This openness prevents you from closing your heart and falling into victim consciousness, which only attracts more difficulties. When you're facing a financial challenge, instead of immediately focusing on what's wrong or what you lack, ask yourself, what is this situation trying to teach me? Or, how might this challenge be serving my growth? Or, what opportunities might be hidden in this apparent setback? These questions shift you from victim consciousness to learner consciousness, which is much more empowering and tends to lead to better outcomes. It's also important to handle challenges with the same grace you would if you were already wealthy. How would someone with millions in the bank handle an unexpected car repair or medical bill? They would probably handle it calmly, find the best solution available, and move on without drama or self-pity. You can choose to handle your challenges with this same dignity and confidence, regardless of your current bank balance. This doesn't mean you should spend money you don't have or make foolish decisions. It means approaching problems with calm resourcefulness rather than panicked desperation. When you handle challenges from abundance consciousness, you often find solutions that wouldn't have occurred to you from scarcity consciousness. Sometimes challenges are actually invitations to expand your abundance consciousness. You might be forced to find creative solutions, to ask for help, to discover resources you didn't know existed, or to develop new skills. All of these experiences can strengthen your ability to create and handle abundance in the future. During difficult times, it's especially important to maintain your daily abundance practices. This is when you most need the support of gratitude, affirmations, and positive visualization. Even if you can only manage a few minutes each day, keep some connection to abundance consciousness alive. This consistency will help you move through challenges more quickly and with less suffering. Seek support from others who understand abundance consciousness. This might be friends who share your beliefs, online communities focused on prosperity, or spiritual teachers who inspire you. Avoid spending too much time with people who want to commiserate about how hard life is or how unfair the world is. While their concern might be genuine, this kind of conversation tends to reinforce victim consciousness rather than empowerment. Practice what I call compassionate boundaries with your own worry and fear. Acknowledge these feelings when they arise. Don't try to push them away or pretend they're not there, but don't let them take over your whole day either. You might say to yourself, I notice I'm feeling scared about money right now. It's understandable that I feel this way. I'm going to allow myself to feel this for a few minutes, and then I'm going to focus on what I can do to improve my situation. Use challenging times as opportunities to deepen your trust in life itself. Each time you navigate a difficulty and come out the other side, your faith grows stronger. You develop evidence that you can handle whatever comes your way, that solutions always appear when you need them, that you're more resourceful than you knew. Sometimes the greatest gift of challenges is that they show you what you're truly made of. You discover inner strength and wisdom you didn't know you had. You realize that your sense of security and well-being doesn't depend entirely on external circumstances. This kind of inner strength becomes a foundation for creating sustainable abundance that can't be shaken by temporary setbacks. As you practice maintaining faith during challenges, you'll notice that your definition of security begins to change. Instead of feeling secure only when you have a certain amount of money in the bank, you begin to feel secure because you trust your ability to handle whatever comes. Instead of needing everything to go according to plan, you become comfortable with uncertainty because you know that life is always working in your favor, even when you can't see how. This shift from external security to internal security is one of the most important developments in consciousness you can make. When your security comes from within, when it's based on trust in yourself and in life rather than on external circumstances, you become truly free. And from this freedom, you can create abundance with joy and ease, rather than from fear and desperation. My dear friend, as we come to the end of our time together today, I want you to take a moment to feel how far you've already come just by being here, just by opening your heart and mind to these possibilities. The very fact that you've listened to these words tells me something beautiful about you. You're ready for abundance, you're worthy of wealth, and you're willing to do the inner work that makes lasting change possible. You came here today perhaps feeling uncertain about your financial future, maybe carrying worry or fear about money, possibly wondering if abundance is really possible for someone like you. And I hope that as you've listened, you've begun to feel a shift in your heart, a softening of the hard edges of financial fear, a growing sense that yes, wealth really is coming your way. The signs are all around you, sweet one. They're in the growing sense of gratitude you feel for what you already have. They're in the moments when you catch yourself thinking abundant thoughts instead of scarce ones. They're in the opportunities that are beginning to present themselves, the synchronicities that are showing up, the way doors are starting to open in your life. These aren't accidents or coincidences. They're evidence that your abundance consciousness is awakening and attracting its match in the physical world. Your wealth isn't something you have to chase or struggle for or earn through suffering. It's something you allow, something you align with, something you become a match for through the beautiful work of transforming your consciousness. Every moment you choose gratitude over complaint, every time you speak kindly to yourself instead of critically, every instance when you act from abundance rather than scarcity, you're building the inner foundation that will support lasting financial prosperity. The universe is conspiring to bring you abundance in ways more wonderful than you can currently imagine. Your job isn't to figure out exactly how this will happen or when it will arrive. Your job is to keep your heart open, to stay aligned with love and appreciation, to take inspired action when it feels right, and to trust that life is always working in your favor. There may still be challenging days ahead, moments when doubt creeps in, or when circumstances seem to contradict everything we've talked about today. In those moments, please remember that challenges are often the universe's way of clearing out old energy to make room for something new and wonderful. Don't let temporary setbacks convince you that abundance isn't meant for you. You are worthy of all good things simply because you exist. Keep doing the inner work, beloved. Keep practicing gratitude. Keep speaking kindly to yourself. Keep taking actions that align with your highest vision for your life. Trust the process, even when you can't see the whole path. Your abundance is not a matter of if, but when, and that when is closer than you think. As you go forward from here, carry with you the knowing that you are loved, you are supported, and you are deserving of a life filled with comfort, security, and generous abundance. The wealth that's coming to you isn't just about money, it's about richness in every area of your life. Rich relationships, rich experiences, rich opportunities to grow and serve and create. And remember, as your abundance grows, you'll have more to share with others who are still struggling. Your prosperity becomes a gift not just to yourself, but to everyone whose life you touch. This is the true purpose of abundance, not just to make your own life easier, but to increase your capacity to be a blessing in the world. So trust the signs, dear one. Trust the process. Trust yourself. And most of all, trust that the universe knows exactly what it's doing and that your abundance is already on its way to you. You don't have to do this perfectly. You just have to keep your heart open and your consciousness aligned with love. Until we meet again, know that you are held in love, surrounded by infinite possibilities, and worthy of every good thing your heart desires. Your wealthy, abundant, beautiful life is not just a dream, it's your destiny. And that destiny is unfolding perfectly, right here, right now. With all my love and blessings for your abundant journey ahead.